Okay, so this is problem set 88, which is focus on quadratic equations, as well as finding solutions of quadratic equations by factoring. So a quadratic equation is kind of like a different kind of equation than a linear equation, and it just comes in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're going to be focusing on equations that look like this, and specifically how to solve them. So we're going to use something called the factor method. There's a few different methods that we're going to cover, but we're going to start with the factor method to find something called roots. So we have kind of a step-by-step explanation about how to do that here. You can see that this is x squared minus 18 equals 3x. Instructions say we need to set the equation equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to take x squared minus 18 equals 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x from each side, like so. And now I've got it set equal to 0. Next, I'm going to factor. So I'm going to go ahead and take that x squared minus 3x minus 18, and I'm going to factor it into two binomials. So I've got to think of two things. Negative 6 and positive 3 are going to work. Those need to add to be negative 3 and multiply to be negative 18, so it looks like we're all set. And the last thing that we do to solve an equation like this is that we set each factor equal to 0. So that means we have to do x minus 6 equals 0, because if one of these is equal to 0, the entire thing will be equal to 0, so it will work. Now I solve. I get x equals 6 and x equals negative 3. Two solutions to this one, and to many of the quadratics that we're going to be looking at. Alright, let's look at another example where we're going to find some roots. We've got negative 4x squared equals negative 25. I suppose I didn't need to switch that when I rewrote it, but I did. First thing I'm going to do is set it equal to 0, so I'm going to add 4x squared to each side. So I got 4x squared minus 25. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out this side. It looks like we have a difference of squares here. So because it's a difference of squares, that middle term would be a 0x. So we handle it like so. And then finally, all we have to do is factor this out, or set each side equal to 0. Excuse me. So 2x plus 5 equals 0. 2x minus 5 equals 0, and solve each of these little equations. So it looks like we have x equals negative 2.5, and over here x is going to equal positive 2.5. So therefore we've found the roots. Alright, we got one more of these. Let's take a look. 3x squared minus 6x equals 9. We're going to set it equal to 0 by subtracting 9 from each side. Okay, be a minus sign there. Looks like I can factor a 3 out of this entire thing before I start factoring into binomials. Oops. Try again here. Factor out a 3. It's going to make this a negative 2x. It's going to make this a negative 3, like so. Now we're going to factor that x squared minus 2x minus 3. What we're going to get is x minus 3, x plus 1. Now we're going to set each of those factors, x minus 3, to 0, as well as x plus 1 equal to 0. And we get x equals 3, or x equals negative 1. So take a look at these, watch them again if you need to, and then take a look at the practice.